I don't know why I always get so nervous doing these sit down videos. I even put makeup on for you guys. I feel like I'm on a first date. I'm gonna strategically sit forward like this because behind me is all of our luggage and suitcases and things, and that is not cute. I've made myself a peppermint tea, the fave, in my Lolita mug. This was just like a random fun one I made before coming over here, and it's got a crazy big handle. Now we're gonna hang out for the next 15 to 20 minutes. You guys have asked me a bunch of questions on Instagram, and I've just gone in my notes and noted all of my favorite ones down. So I'm gonna cut to the chase and we're gonna get right into it. What is your living situation right now? Honestly, I ask myself that every single day as well. No, seriously though, I am currently in Paris. Vlog coming very soon actually. I've been editing it today and I'm here for a month. I'm staying in my friend Moya's apartment. She was the absolute sweetest and let us sublet it while she's been away, and I'm just really happy to be back. We had no plans to come back to Paris. Actually, in general, these 8 months we haven't really had many set plans, so when the opportunity to come back arose, we were like, fuck yeah, let's do it. And I really want to actually live here one day, maybe next year. Fingers crossed, praying to the visa angels that we can do that. How have you been able to stay in Europe for so long with the Schengen rules, visas, etc.? So it's actually been pretty tricky because we came here back in April with no visa or anything, and if you didn't know, if you're not a European citizen, you can only spend 90 days within 180 days in the Schengen area, and that's why we've been going back to London so much. So when I arrived, I spent 2 weeks in the UK and then a month in Paris, then a month in London. That kind of bought back that time, and then I did like Europe summer, which was 5 weeks, and then London for another month, and then another 2 weeks, 3 weeks in Europe, then back to London for 6 weeks, and now I'm back in Paris for a month. It's basically based off of a rolling calendar. There are tools online that can help you calculate it. Just typing in Schengen calculator and you put in the dates that you enter and leave, and then it kind of tells you how much longer you can spend in the Schengen area, because yeah, it's pretty crazy if you don't abide by the rules. You definitely want to make sure you're doing it right. Are you going to live in London/Europe permanently? No, I don't think so, ever permanently. In the ideal world, until I get sick of it, I would love to keep doing 6 to 8 months in London/Europe and then the rest of the time in Australia, and kind of just chase summer and hop back and forth. Alex is on the same page as well, which is really nice. So I think I can see us doing that for the foreseeable future. Are you still going to Amsterdam? Yes, we're going at the start of December until after Christmas, so that'll be very exciting. We've got a decent amount of time there, and we're just going to be enjoying spending time with Alex's family, embracing all of the Christmas festivities. When are you coming back to Australia? After Amsterdam. We actually still need to book our tickets. I need to do that at some point, but yeah, the plan is to come back just after Christmas, and then we'll be back in Australia until around May next year, I think. I want to be there for a while. I haven't even had a sip of my tea yet. I've been talking so much. Which has been your favorite city? I'm just gonna say Paris because I love it so much. Yeah, it is my favorite city in Europe. I also do love Rome, but that's more so for like max a week. I don't think I could ever spend, I probably could. I just don't know if I would want to spend an extended period of time there. London's a great city as well, and I do love it. I just prefer Paris for a few different reasons, in that it is much smaller. I love the culture here. London is very similar to Australia, so I don't feel as challenged and out of my comfort zone there. Obviously there's the language barrier here, and that kind of motivates me to want to learn French. And I love the food here, and just the actual city in general is so beautiful. You can walk most places here, or if you just jump on the metro for 30 minutes, you're like in a new place. Whereas in London, the commuting actually, it's a whole thing to wrap your head around. Like if you want to get somewhere, you need to get used to traveling for about 50 minutes minimum to get somewhere on the train or the tube or something. And you can walk a lot, but again, it's just a massive city, so it's going to take you so much longer. What have you learned about yourself during this trip? One, that I'm kind of a control freak. I thrive in routine and love having a plan in place, and this year has been so far from that. I came in April kind of having a rough plan up until around September, but after that we really had no idea where we would be or what we would be doing. I guess just the moving around a lot has never really allowed me to have a full routine because we've not spent longer than a month anywhere at one time. Also, I'm going to talk about this later in the video, but running my business from afar and kind of relying on other people to do things has been really challenging for me as well. But I feel like this year I have grown more than I ever have before, and I'm really glad that I've done it. This year has definitely been an interesting one. How are you staying productive / what is your daily routine? No, I definitely am staying productive, but it is really hard with constantly moving around and not really having a routine. I'd say for the most part, I do try and work normal-ish work hours. I like to aim to start work at like 9, 10 a.m. and then work throughout the day until around 4, 5 on weekdays, and then obviously have a weekend. Oh, I would like to actually also add though that, and even though I'm moving around a lot, I really do try to incorporate elements of a structural morning routine, and that usually looks like waking up, doing my skincare routine, getting ready, going for a big walk, grabbing a coffee and some brekkie on my way out, and then coming back and getting into work. London sublet tips / is the house you would come back to in London an Airbnb? I have become well aware that it is near impossible to find a sublet in London. We were so incredibly lucky. Where we stayed was actually a friend's place, or like my friend's family's place. So they were very accommodating to Alex and I coming and going, and we were really grateful that we could do that. But I've been told that there are some really great Facebook pages. I will give them to you guys. I'm not gonna gatekeep. We've got Hackney Wick Spaces. And then if you just type in like London apartment, there's like London apartments for rent. But the most helpful one, and you guys are welcome, are you ready? It's an Instagram page called Friends of Friends. And basically it's just some angel who runs this page, and people send in their rooms that they're renting. Some are long-term, some are short-term. And I've had a friend who successfully found a room off of this page, and I'm saving it for next year when I come back because I feel like it's a really good resource. So you're welcome. Have you found it difficult not being home for so long? Do you miss the people at home, and how have you been dealing with that? Freaking yes. I didn't think I would be such a homesick person, but like I said, these last 8 months have been tricky. I miss my friends so much. I miss my family. I miss my routines. I miss Generation SPF. I miss my cat. Ultimately, I was leaving a massive part of my life. But I guess for me, the pros outweigh the cons in that it was a massive career opportunity coming here, and I kind of just always had this inkling that this was something that I wanted to do. And I know that when I go back to Australia, that's all still gonna be here, but I just felt like I had to come and do this. I'm so drawn to this part of the world, so I think I would have regretted staying for those things and not doing this for myself. Do you feel guilt living overseas and being away from your family? Kind of similar to the last question, but actually yes. I have a little brother who is 10, pretty sure he's 10. I always get this wrong. In my head, he's stayed like 6 for the last 5 years. But anyway, I actually feel a lot of guilt with kind of missing those years of Ruben's life. And again, it's like one of those things that if I'm there, I'm not gonna see him a ton anyway, apart from like when I catch up with my family once a week. So it would be silly for me to not live out my dreams in my 20s. I know that I'll always get to go back to him. Is there anywhere you wouldn't feel safe traveling without Al? I feel like I'm actually like the worst person to ask this question to, because generally speaking, everywhere is so safe, so fine. I actually feel really safe here in Paris, but definitely in London there are areas that I get a little bit scared walking around by myself. But I'm like a very cautious person and a big baby when it comes to that stuff. So I think for a normal, not so scared person, you would be fine. I think as a girl, it's kind of normal to be more on the cautious side. I am very grateful to do a lot of traveling with Al because I'm a big scaredy cat. In saying that, I don't think if I wasn't with Alex, that would stop me from traveling. Like, I traveled a ton before that. I kind of like that feeling of overcoming things. So I would definitely be scared, but I would still do things. What journal prompts do you like to use? Most of the time when I journal, actually, I'm just doing like a big brain dump, getting my feelings out of my head. But sometimes I also do follow journal prompts. My friend Joy, she has a page called Humble Ego, which is actually a small business, but she also posts really great journaling prompts. Also, there's No Particular Order, which is Margot Lee's journaling brand. She also posts journaling prompts that I've used before. And then also Pinterest, which is kind of random, but you'd be surprised. There are some pretty good ones on there. What the hell are we supposed to be doing in our 20s and how do we figure it out? Girl, I freaking feel you. I don't think you actually ever figure it out. I think you just get better at succumbing to the feelings or kind of managing the feelings. If someone says that they've ever got it all figured out, I think they're lying. Sorry, going back to the question. I think our 20s are just about experimenting and doing everything that we've ever wanted to do. Or that's how at least I'm treating it. And definitely this season of my life, kind of being over here for such an extended period of time, has been me doing exactly that. I had so much going for me and set up in Australia. My whole business is from Australia, and leaving that behind / in someone else's hands was such a scary thing. I knew that I would regret so deeply not living out my 20s and just trying new things, trying living somewhere else, traveling around, getting all of these life experiences just because of money or my business. This is gonna sound a little bit cheesy and deep for a second, but I've reflected a lot this year and kind of come down to what I feel like humans' purposes are, and that is just to have connection and to have meaningful relationships. So I think your 20s is kind of about exploring that and planting those seeds. But also, now I think about it, it could be different for everyone. That's what it's about for me. What part of London do you recommend staying in to make the most of a few days? I'm gonna give you a few different answers kind of based off of the vibe. Keep in mind, I am a grandma, but I just don't love like going clubbing and those kind of things. I love going out for a nice dinner and having a few cocktails with some friends and stuff, but the recommendations that I'm giving you isn't gonna be based off of nightlife because I don't really care for that. First recommendation, Marylebone, really cute area, really central to everything, lots of nice coffee shops, and most importantly, it's just easy to get everywhere from there. Number 2, Shoreditch, another really vibey area with so much going on, super close to the Columbia Road flower markets, which is a really fun Sunday activity to do. And then my third recommendation would be Notting Hill, which was where I was living. Keep in mind, Notting Hill is a little bit further from everything, so you're going to be spending a lot more time on the tube. But pro, they've got the Portobello Road Market, they've got a bunch of cute coffee shops, vintage shops. It's a really nice area, but it's just going to take you longer to kind of get to everywhere. Favorite cameras for vlogging and taking film photos. I use the Canon G7X Mark II. I've heard mixed reviews on the Mark III. I actually had the Mark III for a minute there, but then reverted back to my Mark II. I think the Mark II's better in general. And then for taking film photos, I use a Nikon 35 Ti, which is definitely a bit more of an expensive camera. Prior to that, I used a Canon SureShot and a Pentax SBO, which I loved. They were great cameras. But yeah, you definitely don't have to get like a really expensive camera to get really nice film photos. I just kind of decided to because my other cameras weren't lasting me so long, but the noticing quality isn't huge. In saying that, it is a pretty freaking nice camera. It does take really nice photos. How are you going running your business from the other side of the world? Any challenges you've faced? Well, I'd be lying to you guys if I said it was all smooth sailing. It's definitely been a massive learning curve. I faced a few hurdles just before I'd left. I had like some plans in place and they literally got flipped upside down the month before I left. So that left me with very limited time to kind of put things in place, and I think what I did considering those circumstances was pretty freaking good. It's really hard if I'm being honest, especially being this far from where my pieces are being made. Getting things sent here to approve, especially when I'm constantly changing addresses, is really stressful and takes so much time. I've learned so much, and I feel like if this hadn't have panned out the way that it did, I wouldn't have the things coming up that I do have coming up. So yeah, challenges that I've faced. Interestingly enough, I didn't factor in the fact that I got so much content for my business page from making the products myself and also packing and sending out everything. that became a huge part of my brand, I guess. So then me being removed from that immediately deleted a whole part of the story that I would usually share. So that meant I just had to have so much content all the time that I didn't really pre-prepare for. And also you need to have more regular drops because, yeah, like I said, I'm missing those two crucial parts of the story that would fill up the time that I didn't have product to sell. So now that I've lost those parts, I need to have like products that kind of fill in those gaps. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. All of these things though make me so freaking excited and motivated to get back to Australia and just get making ceramics and things myself. Next year when I come back to Europe, my whole business approach is going to be so totally different, which means that I need to be insanely organized and productive when I'm back in Australia. But I think I'm really ready for that challenge. I've missed so much this year being creative with my hands. That kind of sounded bad, but like physically making something, I get so much gratification with just creating art, and not doing that this year. I mean, I get that element a little bit with the whole photography creative direction thing, but it's very different. I think that definitely had a pretty big toll on my mental health, because as much as I love doing social media, it's just not something that I envision myself doing solely. I like having other things as well. Will you be making new collections when you get back to Australia? Yes, I'm so excited. I have so many ideas. I'm feeling so inspired. And honestly, if I could go tomorrow, I would be there. I would be there making things. I just miss it so much. Is your lifestyle funded by YouTube or ceramics? I find this question really interesting as well, because I think from the outside, I'm not very good at showing all the different dynamics of my business. It's really hard to document. So basically I have three main sources for my income, which is A, my ceramics, which if I'm being totally honest, I haven't actually been really living off that this year. I kind of came with the mindset that anything that I make from that business, I'm going to reinvest back. Whilst it does fund some things here and there, I do get a lot of my income from social media. So yeah, social media is my second form of income. Third, which is going to be recent in the last year or so, has been me working for Alex. We create campaigns for brands together. He's a photographer and I do the assisting, creative directing and styling, and that has picked up a lot since we've been in Europe this year. And yeah, it's really cool that we get to work together. I'm really passionate about that side of my work and I really enjoy it. It's pretty often when you speak to creatives that they have like multiple different income streams. I think it's pretty hard to, especially being an artist, live off of just the one income. So having social media and my photography work with Alex is a massive help. What's next for Lolita by Lolita? Had I have not faced these hurdles this year, I wouldn't have had the thought process to put what is coming out in place. I'm experimenting with new mediums, new products, reworking old products. I'm really excited for what's to come. And then I have a few other bigger goals that I'm gonna keep private until I have achieved them. But I'm working towards them and one day they're gonna happen and I'm very excited about it. Current long-term and short-term goals. Short-term, get back to Australia, get things moving with my business. I really wanna get the production side of that underway, mainly from myself. I want to make things again. I miss it so much and I really just want to enjoy summer in Oz and just catch up with all my friends and family that I've missed so much. And then my long-term goals would probably be to find more balance in the 6 months in Australia, 6 months here, find a formula and routine that works for me in doing that. I know the more I do it, it'll kind of fall into place, and I also know that it's a really maybe weird way of living, but I think it's just what I want to do and also what Alex wants to do. We've talked about it a lot and right now it is just a big goal of ours to be able to continue doing that. Ideally have my businesses running seamlessly alongside of that, which is going to be hard but not impossible, so I'm going to do it. Almost finished my tea. Good timing. Okay, I'm going to end this video off on a bit more of a sappier, reflective question. Your biggest achievement this year that you're proud of? The first thing that comes to mind would be having my event. That was at the start of the year in March. Crazy. That literally feels like a lifetime ago. That was a massive achievement for me. And that feeling after it was finished and meeting everybody and just kind of see it all come to life was so rewarding. I definitely want to hold a few more events when I'm back in Oz before coming back to Europe. That's another goal of mine. I forgot to add that. But yeah, that's definitely something that I'm really proud of this year. I'm really proud of myself for getting through these last 8 months. Like I said, my mental health definitely hasn't been the greatest, and it has been pretty tricky moving around and being in different places constantly and having a lack of routine. Because of that, I've grown so much, and I'm really proud of myself for it. I'm really proud of myself for, even though things with Lolita by Lolita haven't gone exactly to plan, I've still come out with 3 collections this year. There still definitely has been aspects of it that have run to plan and have gone smoothly. So I'm proud of myself for that, because I'm just a 23-year-old girl figuring it out as I go and massively learning as I go. I think it's really easy for me to forget that and look at people who are in their mid-30s running these massive successful companies being like, shit, I'm not doing good enough. But when I reality check myself and be like, Lola, you're 23, you're living abroad, you're doing this, this and that, like, it's fine. You're still a baby, like it's gonna work out. I think that wraps up this video. I feel like I've been talking for so long. Thank you so much for hanging out. I know I said at the start that these kind of videos freak me out, but that was actually really nice. I've also made a broadcast channel on my Instagram, which has been really fun. I've been posting random updates and it's a lot less curated, a lot more real. So feel free to join that if you would like to. The next video you'll see from me is my Paris vlog. Okay, I'm gonna say bye now. Love you all so, so much. I hope you're having the best day, evening, night, whatever. And I'll see you guys really soon.